Let there be light, and there was light. Words of the said God, Mother Eve. Thank you for joining us, and hoping that you have been enjoying the presentations on Crime Queen. I hope they've been comprehensive. I hope that you are feeling free to leave your comments and, of course, your likes and share and so on. So there we are continuing with the gods. In fact, I've called this Back to Eden, and well, a series. I think I'm going to do a series on Back to Eden, because we are talking about Mother Eve in the Garden of Eden, and I'm not sure if this is going to be appropriate, but one of the things I have decided to do is really think of a name before I start begin the presentations. At least it gives me a sense of direction. Okay, but because I'm always doing things so intuitively, well, this is always subject to change. Okay, now, these are the list of the gods like I've presented before, and I thought I would do a presentation on how we can work effectively with the 14 gods of Genesis. So in case you're new to this channel, we are talking about the gods of Genesis, the gods who created us in their image after their likeness and so on. But we have done presentations that really show that Mother Eve is like the orchestrator of all. She's the Lord of Lords. So as you know, we've got lords in England, and that means the lords, and I'm not just speaking spiritual here. They have certain roles and certain obligations to society and so on. They play a very significant role. And also they have certain restrictions. I haven't studied it much, but I was in discussion with someone. Of course, it's that thing that everything you need to know, you know at the right time, space, and sequence. It wasn't of that subject matter at all that would pertain to what I'm talking about, but it showed up that in this conversation that I was told, oh, did you know that the lords, they really had the authority to, you know, have the last word, and for whatever reason it was, they had to draw a legislation to a certain group or society that they would not have that right to have the final say, so to speak. However, they can still intervene with the application, or with the requests of that sector, but not without their calling on them. This is the called God in action there. I'm speaking of the called God. So we are saying we have the 14 gods. They are probably in sets of sevens, or and I say probably, but we have seen that there is like the two, what I call the two creations, meaning the two sevens, and of course we have male and female. So that would really kind of show, if we take note that in Genesis chapter 2 or 3, this is where it is said, and there there were much men on the earth to call upon the name of God. So meaning that was saying that the earth was predominant with female, and so they were not female, but we do not hear much about that. They were the Eves, that I call them the Eves. They were female, and that coincides with Dr. Delbert Blair, who theorized, if we could say, that the earth was at one stage predominantly female, and female at that time were able to have children after their kind, meaning they would only have female. So there now we had the male, of course, when Adam, of course, Adam and Eve bore their children, and we saw that there were two males. So it was Cain and Abel. And Cain and Abel, and then there was Seth. And for a long generation of, we could see in the scriptures, it was male and or man. And of course, there was also another reference where it was said, and there were giants in the earth, and that could be in a different context altogether. But they had the daughters of men. So I'm just saying, for instance, I'm just trying to draw on the parallels or the essence that there was at one time the female, which we can see that the female is that which contains, we are the containers, the incubator, we could say. And of course, hence we have mother. The word mother equals seven. And so we see that there was a seven in the seven of creation, and that would be what would be replicated or projected out to be the male. So as we can see with the female is that which is the incubator, but has the ability to, of course, birth out. And so we can see in that birthing out there is another element of the female, which is the male's attribute to project herself. That part of herself is projected out, and the male represents that as well. So all this thing about, well, the female came from Adam, I really think we need to kind of try and make sense out of all of this. Though I have come across a video that shows about the rib, of course, is that which has the bone in it that can grow, and so that gives credence to the story that we have. And I'm not disputing that either, but it seemed like we would have had that first initial attribute of projecting the male species out in this sense. Okay, so not to go on too much with this, but it's about the 14 gods we really want to talk about here. And the 14 gods here, of course, the gods of Genesis. Let's position myself. Yeah, the gods of Genesis. And we have here the created God, the moved God, the said God, the saw God, the divided God, called God, made God, said God, the blessed God, ended God, formed God, caused God, breathed God, and planted God. Now, these 9 gods here are the 9 gods of Genesis in chapter 1. And these 5 gods here are in Genesis of chapter 2. Now, of course, if you're new to this, you would think, well, these are just what's the word for these active words? There's are they objectives? Okay, but we could see that these words are here, and one is calling, one is made, one is set. They all are these words of acts or active words right here, ended and formed and created, breathed, and planted. They all are. But what it is that it's the wisdom that we have been asked to seek, and which has been permeated through the scriptures. Seek wisdom, seek wisdom. And when you find it, wear it around your neck. The neck, of course, is symbolic of your speech, of the words, of your ability to project and understand and articulate. So we can see all of those words or symbols of this wisdom. And we also learn through the scriptures as well that the world was built through wisdom. This is why I am talking about the said God here, which is number 3, which is a number of creativity and dynamic expression. We could see that Mother Eve is very much prominent here. So basically, through these 14 gods, Mother Eve which is the said, comes on the said God. Now, it's not to say that Mother Eve is separate from the other gods at all. No, Mother Eve, it's like, as we said, we are, or as I have said, we are the result of an experiment. And so it's like, we see that the result of that which we are still permeates in the earth, meaning there will be a catastrophe in a place, a hurricane or a flood or something, and there are people who are of positions, or who would even volunteer to take certain positions to really make things happen, to really bring about some kind of equilibrium. And so these people have taken their positions. They have acted as lords, you could say, in that position. This is where Mother Eve was now saying, let us make man in our image after our likeness. The light was formed, the earth was formed, the grass, the green things, the fish, the birds, and everything was there. And now she was saying, well, there is something there. Now, the next thing we need to do is let us make man in our image after our likeness. Let us not be confused about who was speaking those words. And God said is the said God. Now, I have been divinely guided to really go through the scriptures, and I have done this over a period of time. Now, when I say the scriptures, I'm only talking about Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 3 in this case, in this context, and to see that going over this, all where it said, and God said, God created, God called, because it wasn't making really much sense that there was one God. This is the beautiful thing that we have been given, is intuition. Intuition is not a thing that is written in a book or in the scriptures. Intuition is given to us. That's the gift. That's the gift that has been given unto us when we had breath, because breath is not something you can really see it. You can't see it. Or when Mother Eve says, behold, I have given you all fruit, all this, all that. And there is the blessed God, of course, is to be less, who says, okay, I have blessed you with this, with that. But Mother Eve emphasizes in the same text to say, behold, I have given you all things, all, meaning she's not saying, but don't touch of the fruit, or don't touch of this, or don't touch of that. It was another God who took this action on himself. It was another God who was throwing his weight around, if you like. But when I say another God, this is all Mother Eve's spectrum. It's not really separating one from another, but it's like saying, my feet are for walking and my mouth is for speaking. So I can't really walk to go to work on my mouth, and that's what it's about. So I am all of this, but all of this have different aspects, all different functions. And so my word or my thoughts are predominantly the authority, if you like, the thoughts, and this reminds me of a text, the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. So these are all this is one, and everything else, the hands, the feet, the eyes, and everything else takes its order, if you like. The eyes can see, but then the mouth still is going to say, do I want to reveal what the eyes have seen right now, or should I, or shouldn't I? Or the feet is walking, but the mouth is still saying, do I want to tell my friend where I went today, or how far I walked? Or the hands may be also cooking. Do I really? And they speak as well. They all have their own individual voices, but the mouth, of course, this is why we are often told to guard our mouths, guard our words, because it flows. It's the ocean. We are the walking. The mouth is the speaking ocean. Okay. I am going like an ocean right now. Okay, so the 14 gods here. So we see that they are Mother Eve. Now, what I really want to go on to really explaining is the how we can really work with the gods. So on 11 11 11, that's no of course we are talking about the 2 2 2 2. In fact, there would be like 4 11s, it would seem like, because we are on 11 year 2018. So that is, of course, 11. So 20, that is 9, 10, 11. So that's 11. And I also did 11 minutes past 11 of November. So I really was maximizing my vibration as much as possible with those dates. And then I went to the park in the open space and found myself a beautiful spot where I could ground myself on the damp earth because it was wet. And then I called upon the gods, because I have been calling upon the gods, but I also have been concerned about with the teaching. How are people going to relate to the gods? Because it was much easier when someone thought, okay, we just had the one God. It's the one God in the scriptures, and that makes it, yes, easier to say, oh yes, and God. But we see that even in the scriptures speaks of gods, the different gods. And this is why the God of Abraham would say, now I want you to serve me, or go take that land and I will be your God. So there is a recruitment of the children and the God, or the God and his, what would be the word for us, and his recruits. Okay, all right. So basically, so the gods are recruiting, if you like, but they are recruiting with our consent anyway. So they are making their offers, and it's up to us to take up that offer. Now, there's another thing that I would like to see. Basically, I have seen that the created God, which that has the numerical value of 2, for instance, I think the 2 comes as 11. That is 8, 13, 22, 20. Oh, I think it's okay. I'm going to count this another time. 27 plus 5, 30. Well, okay. I was trying some mental arithmetic here, but whether it's as 11, which I believe the created word is as 11, I can do this quickly because I feel that that is important since I've mentioned 11 created. Let's do it on here. Oh, pen. So this is 3, 9, 5, 1, 2, 5, 9. Okay, so this is 10, this is 20, this is 31, 34. 34 would be 7. So I think I have got something not very correct here. Let's do this again. 3, 9, 5, 1, 2, 5, 4. Okay, oh, it's 4 and not 9 here. Okay, this is 4. I think that's where my mistake was. So this is 10, this is 21, 26, and 3, 29. So this is 11, 29. 2 plus 9 is 11. So here we are talking about, and of course, so that would be 11. So I was calling upon the created God, of course, and the called God, the created God, because the called God is 1 or 10, and of course, so I was in this 1 1 1, if you like. And then we had the moved God, because I call them through the first letters actually, and then the cause God, which is 8, and of course it's like 8 is the number that sets. It's like a template. I called on all these 14 gods, and then I said, I really ask, well, how how are we going to communicate? What? No, my question was really, what am I meant to be asking right now or saying right now? And that was my question, because I was kind of tired of asking. I felt more of gratitude, to do a gratitude moment or dedication. And I went into myself, and I was really ever so grateful and thankful that I was able to communicate with the 14 gods. And I also had the realization that it was important that I do not discriminate any of the gods. If the gods are to work within me, within this frame, within this vibration or frequency or this cell of the God force that I am, because I often see myself as one of the cells of this large force that makes things happen, like a synaptic nerve with different neurons, or if I'm correct, or different cells. So we are functions like that. And then I also remembered that there was a time where I was unhappy with my weight. And what I found out after looking in the mirror, there was this download that said, well, if you are unhappy with someone, should you expect them to be nice to you? Should you expect them to do things for you? That meant I had to be happy with my body to make my body work for me, to make my body be pleased with me. I had to be happy and pleased and thankful and grateful to my body so it could work for me. So that's the realization that I had with the gods. I understood that I had an opportunity, and I also had the privilege of really acknowledging every god implicitly, with honor, with reverence and respect. And then I did my gratitude, of course. It was really it was very heartfelt for me that I had been so privileged to understand or come to the realization that there are the 14 gods operating through me, and I had not gone bonkers, as one would say, or I have this, or maybe I'm perceived that way, but I feel within myself that I am whole. It's the wholeness that I felt. It's the bliss that I felt. It's the unity that I felt in that moment. And on that unity spectrum, on that unity vibration, that I instinctually felt and knew that the gods can work together. The gods can work together. So in that moment, I called on each god, and I called each god and asked each god to take their rightful position within this frame, within this makeup, within this me. Cry me queen, and all other names that I am known by, and so on and so on. Really making my identity clear to each god. Understanding, and I said the called God, the caused God, the breathed God, the planted God, all the gods take your rightful position within me. I am asking that you take your rightful position within me. I am also asking that you are happy in taking your rightful position within me. Be happy It's like using the words of Mother Eve now. Let there be light, and there was light. And let the gods take their rightful position within me. And let them be happy in these positions within me. And so I felt a sense of inner peace and bliss far beyond I can really explain. And in that moment, I just knew that I had nothing to worry about, that all my needs, all my desires are met before I even ask, because the gods are in unison with whatever my will is. I also made my own declaration to the gods and say, I am now happy and I am grateful to facilitate the gods within me, and that they are taking their rightful positions within me. And I am now understanding and agreeing that everything I do is in accordance with that position, with their rightful positions within me. Let there be light, and there was light. So this is what I am calling, I am saying that we are meant to be doing, to be able to create man in our image after our likeness, according to the said God, Mother Eve. And it is imperative that we do this exercise. It is imperative, however, in your words that you choose to do this, to understand that the gods are there. They are on our side. Once we are of the position and acknowledgement of that position to say, look, yes, you are part of me and I want to work with you, but I am working with you when we are in harmony. So how best can we do this? We all want to be recognized, or to do, or to be, or to have. So let thy will be done. And for thy will to be done, we need to work in harmony. There is a time for peace and there is a time for struggle according to the scriptures. But now we are in a position to call on peace. And I call on love, joy, peace, wealth, and happiness with the gods. And of course, there is the five. They as that position here. So basically we are ending that struggle. We are forming, and through that ending, we are forming, we are causing, we are breathing, and we are planting the new God. So this is important. We understand this. It's so important. I hope you get this. I hope you like this. And if you like this presentation, leave your comments, leave your likes, and of course, let us honor the gods within us. Mother Eve is within us, and of course that is not away from Adam. Okay, and we have all the called gods, because Adam, I see Adam as the made God, because we have Adam. I think that is where we have Adam here, and as the seventh, of course, comes in as seven, which coincides with the 7 days of creation, like it would. The serpent also has the numerical value of 7. So thank you for watching. Do like and subscribe and share, and stay ignited.